Look, what do you think about couples therapy?
Couples therapy?
Whatever it takes.
Yes.
Thank you, sweetheart. Thank you for understanding.
I love you, Banky. But I don't have to like you right now.
Welcome to the party, pal!
Action movie reviews with Mackey, Judd, and Rami.
Get to the chopper! Yippee-ki-yay, mother...
Yeah, we've yet to officially change the intro for these other versions of Mackey and Judd movie reviews.
When I think Kate Hudson, I think Yippee-ki-yay, MF.
You probably do.
Yeah, I probably do. To be completely honest, I actually do.
It's Valentine's Day weekend, and we've had people. So we started doing action movie rewinds almost a year ago now. The pandemic hit 11 months ago, so we've done like 45 action movie rewinds. And we will keep doing action movie rewinds, but we've had a lot of people reach out and say, I love action movie rewinds so much. It would be great if you guys would branch out and do other type. Have you ever considered doing comedies or, and I don't know, like we've talked about the types of movies that would be fun to review. And if we're going to review old school or like good comedies, I don't know what there is to make fun of.
Yeah. Old School was just on TV the other day. Great movie.
Yep.
Though.
I was watching it too.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And like those movies are just funny and awesome. And I don't know what we would necessarily add to it. And so we had to find a little corner somewhere, and Rom Coms is probably the most requested genre.
We picked a good one though.
How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days.
Solid.
2003.
I was a guinea pig. Somebody you could test your theories on?
Yeah, and I was just a girl somebody picked out in a bar.
Yeah, it's a big deal. Hell, I'm sure now you can even use it as a little twist in your story.
It's a good idea. Maybe we should bet on it.
You know what? You did your job, though, Andy. You wanted to lose a guy in 10 days. Congratulations. You did it. You just lost him.
Aww.
No, I didn't, Ben. Because you can't lose something you never had.
Oh, slam.
What a line.
Just get
what
some.
a line.
Just get some.
And they're both in the wrong. They both were wrong to do what they did.
Amazing. All right. Okay, here is the summary of How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days.
And then she shoots him. And that's
spoiler alert.
And that's the action movie. She pulls out.
He's the bad guy.
She pulls out a machine gun and obliterates him.
An advice column.
Welcome to the party, pal.
A magazine advice columnist, Andy Anderson, played by Kate Hudson, tries pushing the boundaries of what she can write about in her new piece about how to get a man to leave you in 10 days. Her editor, Lana, loves it, and Andy goes off to find a man she can use for the experiment. Enter advertising executive Ben Barry, played by Matthew McConaughey. All right.
Little red light, green light.
Who is so confident in his romantic prowess, he thinks he can make any woman fall in love with him in 10 days. When Andy and Ben meet, their plans backfire. 42% on Rotten Tomatoes. I don't know what the other 68% were thinking when they reviewed this movie.
They didn't like McConaughey.
Roger Ebert.
They must have not liked McConaughey.
No, maybe they didn't like Kroll the Warrior King. I don't know. Critics' consensus, according to Rotten Tomatoes, Matthew McConaughey and Kate Hudson are charming together, but they can't overcome How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days' silly premise and predictable script. A $50 million budget turned into $177 million at the box office. A wild success.
Yeah, wow.
Starring Matthew McConaughey, Kate Hudson, Katherine Hahn, and Adam Goldberg, who, by the way, so in my binging of Friends late at night the last few weeks.
That's right.
So Adam Goldberg has a 3-episode run as Chandler's new roommate replacement for Joey when Joey goes on.
Yeah.
Lives somewhere else, and he has anger management problems.
That's right.
Yes. His name is Eddie.
Yes, Eddie.
And he's a great character. He's like super, he thinks that Chandler is like cheating on him or like cheating with his girlfriend, and he's super paranoid. It's a great character.
He also has a great run in Entourage, Adam Goldberg.
That's right.
Yes.
Yep.
What's he doing now? Do we know?
Let's look him up here. Let's see what he is doing. He's one of those guys that if you hear his name, you probably are like,
I feel like a
but
lot
when
of
you see him, you're like, oh yeah.
It feels like a lot of people from this film have disappeared a little bit from the spotlight. And they were pretty big
I
at
think
the
Katherine
time.
Hahn has been in every chick flick since 2000.
And she's been in so many movies.
She's now in a car commercial.
Yeah, she's in WandaVision, which is on Disney right now.
Oh, she is okay.
She was in a great Mrs. Fletcher was on HBO, a little miniseries she was out a couple years ago. Yeah, she's been in a ton of stuff.
Okay, so Adam Goldberg has been in a million TV shows. He's mostly doing TV right now. God Friended Me.
Oh, okay.
Taken, the TV series. Graves, the TV series.
Wait, there was a Taken, the TV series?
Yeah.
Apparently.
Yep. We should review that too.
I had no idea. Are you serious?
We'll put that toward the back of the line.
Who was our guy?
I don't think Liam was.
Neeson. No, I'm sure Liam Neeson didn't have time to do the television show.
Yeah, this is from a couple years
Nor
ago.
the Desire.
The tagline on the TV poster is
God.
"I will find you," and it's NBC Fridays at 9/8 Central
Well,
time.
you know what? I didn't find it.
The season was the last season. It was 2 seasons. The last one was 2018. I don't know how many seasons you can do, although they did 3 movies of it, or 4 or something.
You could probably come up with different ideas. Who knows?
Yeah. So anyhow, we're going to keep the framework pretty similar here, but we have a couple different twists on questions that we will ask that'll be different than Action Movie Rewind. We'll start with Judd Zulgad, your key takeaway from How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days.
So first of all, off the summary that you read, Phil Mackey, I'd like to ask a question. Who started watching this film and thought, I wonder what the plot's going to be at the end? Like, I'm dead serious. Like an
that's why they got dinged by the critics.
No, I know, but my point is, I'm faulting the critics here. Like, if you have our action films, right? Like, there are different ways to go. You know, there are different ways to go. But when I started to watch this film, it was never about the storyline. It was about the actors who were good, right? So my key takeaway was strong cast, because the cast for that time was really good, I thought. Music, thumbs up. This was as far as what we were reviewing here, a rom-com. Some call it a chick flick, although I do think that this went both ways. I think the guys probably enjoyed this too. This was, in my opinion, pretty much a can't lose. Like, you would have to hate relationship films to crap on this film. And let me tell you why I think it worked.
Yeah.
And let me tell you why I think this film worked. There's one very important character, an actor, and it's actually an actress. Kate Hudson, okay, plays, in my opinion, a very difficult role. Because if that goes the wrong way, that character could have been despicable, like with the high voice and trying to be cutesy and all of the things.
She did a very good job.
She did. No, but I'm telling you, there are some actresses that they could have gotten who would have interpreted that role differently, slightly, and the film would have been beyond annoying within probably the first half hour or so. So my takeaway was, forget the plot. The plot, you knew how this was going to end. Where they deserve kudos, my takeaway is this: the casting. That's all that mattered.
I love Thespian Judd.
The casting, but the casting was the most important thing.
You're saying if like Anne Hathaway had been casted as Kate Hudson's character, it would have been a disaster.
I'm saying imagine some different actresses in that role. Because if you took that role and were truly as annoying as her character was supposed to be to people in the film, you would have absolutely turned this off and walked away. She does a magnificent job. So take the plot stuff and shove it. That's not the important thing. The important thing is that they got the casting right.
Imagine if it was like Drew Barrymore as this. I think it was. To
Oh,
Judd's point,
man.
it could have been.
This easily could have been a Drew Barrymore.
Film.
She was
very. It's very typecast to Drew Barrymore.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, she would have. I think you're right. I don't think she would have nailed the nuance of such a complicated character that Andy Anderson is.
Drew is also a very has a love-hate relationship, I feel like, with people. Like, either you love, you're all in on Drew, or you can't stand the sight of her.
Yeah.
So I can completely understand what Judd's saying there.
Yeah. So that's my most important takeaway to this film, is that fact. They got the casting right, and from there, the rest, in my opinion, gravy.
What has Kate Hudson even done in the last few years besides Fabletics commercials?
I think
she has. It looks like she's been in
not much, I don't think.
A random episode of Truth Be Told. Basically, she's only done like 4 things since 2017.
Oh.
So she hasn't done a whole lot.
She is rich enough not to have to work.
Yeah.
And she was born into her mom's money, Goldie Hawn.
That'll help.
So, all right, my main takeaway from this movie, I'm gonna bring you guys behind the curtain of Phil Mackey's life here for a second, okay?
Oh,
So
boy.
this movie came out my senior year of high school, and it's a very impressionable time in your life, senior year in high school.
Yeah.
You're trying to figure out what you want to do with your life. You're trying to figure out who you are as a person. And I always knew that I wanted to work in sports media and sports journalism and go down that path. And so initially, when I had applied and was accepted into the University of Minnesota, I was on the professional journalism path, right? Like AP writing classes and everything that you would go through to be on TV and radio. And after watching this movie became, after multiple viewings between like senior year of high school and freshman year of college, it became one of my go-to rewatchable movies. Like that it just became one of my favorite movies. And it led to me to switch my major from professional journalism and broadcast to advertising, PR, and copywriting.
Unbelievable.
Are you serious?
I fell
Oh
in
my
love
God.
that, and then eventually Mad Men came around a few years later too. Like I fell in love throughout senior year of high school into college. I fell in love with the idea of the advertising world, and like, oh my God, you could have a badass apartment, and you could go to NBA games, and you could just be coming up with like
great.
your whole life is coming up with like a slogan for a company, right?
I'm able to walk into my office, take off my shirt in front of women. Yeah,
And there is
totally.
no question that the Wolves are going to be in the NBA Finals probably by 2005.
Listen, if the Knicks in the early 2000s
That's
or at
right.
any point in the last
the
20 years
Wolves are
can be
headed to the
Wolves.
finals.
Yep.
No doubt.
And so I legitimately,
Oh my God.
my official major in college, I wound up taking some classic like sports journalism or journalism classes, but I got an internship at KFAN when I was 19. I was just sort of in the industry, and I wanted another track just to have something else that I could go into. And I was hell bent because of Benjamin Barry, Matthew McConaughey. I wanted to be that when I was like 19 years
when
Who
old.
doesn't want to be?
As an
McConaughey.
alum, when you go back and speak to prospective students at the University of Minnesota, I hope you mention this.
I haven't been asked back, so not sure if that's going to happen. If anyone with pull at the University of Minnesota is listening, listen, I graduated 14 years ago now. You can ask me back now. Okay, I'd love to speak to the students.
Okay.
Tell them How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days is absolutely the movie you need to watch.
Model your
to
life
decide
after.
your career on. Drop all of your majors right now.
Declan, what was your key takeaway from this movie?
Just your classic cheesy rom-com. And even though this movie, I think, comes out in 2003 is when it came out.
Yep.
It
January.
still has a lot of like 90s vibes to me, like the clothing,
the soundtrack,
the
Gin
Gin
Blossoms.
Blossoms.
That's a
Dude.
Love
great
me some
album.
Gin Blossoms,
That's
dude.
a great album.
Keith Urban.
If we ever get back to normal, I would love to be at 1029 singing a Gin Blossom songs on karaoke, because that would be a go-to of mine.
Right after I was done watching this movie last night, I went to Spotify and I clicked the heart button on Jim Blossom's radio and rocked that coming into the office today.
Good for you.
That was a great
Follow
album.
You Down.
Yeah. Hey, Jealousy.
Man, Hey, Jealousy.
That's my go-to.
So good.
But yeah, main takeaway was just your cheesy rom-com. It's got early 2000s vibes. I like the sports tie-in too. It helps that there's like an NBA finals thing going on in this movie. I think that helps hook dudes into this film.
We'll get to that.
I feel like there's a separate like episode altogether that we should do on that, which we'll do.
Just on the Knicks. And by the way, the Sacramento Kings being the other team, which at the time
they were
was
amazing.
Was
at the
a
time.
decent team.
Yeah, the Knicks sucked.
But looking back on it then was pretty hilarious. I think the Knicks and Kings could be in the finals together. But I enjoyed it. It was a great rom-com. It was the first time I ever seen this movie. I've never saw this movie before. So I was really happy to watch it.
This is on my Mount Rushmore of rom-coms.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was awesome.
I think if I could make a Mount Rushmore of rom-coms just for my own personal taste, this is on it for sure. Sleepless in Seattle is on it for sure. Just a classic. You might even include the other Tom Hanks, Meg Ryan, You've Got Mail.
Which I've
in that
never
mix.
seen. I've never seen that
We're
one.
lining all
Never-
these up,
never
baby.
seen it either.
Sleepless I've seen.
Haven't seen that.
When Harry Met Sally, I've seen a
Haven't
couple
seen
times.
that.
That's cute. That's good.
Haven't seen
Good
either.
stuff.
Cute.
That's very cute.
Judd.
Very cute. It's very cute.
Rom-com Judd.
Rom-com Judd.
We've brought
There's a
Rom-com
heart-
Judd to
there's
the
a heart in
surface.
there.
I watch rom-coms.
Yes.
Like the Grinch.
I'm fine with rom-coms.
Okay, another one that I think Declan will hate this one because I think he hates Amy Schumer, but Trainwreck was on Freeform the other
Yes,
night.
it was.
Yeah, I've seen
Dude,
that. I'm not a
LeBron
huge-
James is great in that movie.
Yeah,
can't
but the movie
stand her.
itself is.
I
Oh,
can't
It's
stand
a
her.
cinematic classic.
John Cena.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
man.
love Bill Hader. No, all the other actors in that movie
Bill
are
Hader's great.
phenomenal.
Yeah, he is good.
Amy Schumer, I can't do.
John Cena. There's a line where John Cena plays this like secretly gay, jacked up, and he's dating Amy Schumer for a while. And at one point, like they get into an argument in the theater or something, and the guy behind, I can't remember the details, but like the guy 2 rows behind was telling him to shush, just like you saw in How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. And John Cena turns around and he starts like insulting the guy, and he goes, I will punch your, I will enter you. I will enter you. And the guy was like, you'll enter me? What does that mean? Anyhow, on the soundtrack, Jim Blossoms, you had Keith Urban, which was an he was like the biggest country star in the early 2000s.
Yeah, great song.
You had some Al Green and some Carly Simon from the 60s
Carly
and 70s.
Simon went into the
Little Nelly in
Little
here.
Nelly in there?
You're So Vain is an all-time great
Classic.
song.
Yep. All right, Judd, your favorite part of How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days.
So I actually picked a scene here that I thought was pretty well done. Was annoying, but annoying in a funny way, and I like that. It's when she decides to interrupt the poker game, the poker night thing.
Yeah, a lot of indoor smoking there too.
Yeah.
And like all of the things that she does, again, I think she is the key to the film because it's funny and it's well done. And she basically makes a lot of the script, taking the pizza from Ben's friend's mouth, making Ben blow his nose,
Peekaboo.
put out his cigar, being upset about the fern dying, the love fern before she storms out. All of that stuff to me teetered on, okay, this could be really, really stupid and annoying and not funny, or it could be well done. I thought it was well done. I think there's a lot of individual, like rom-coms, in my opinion, are so much about the characters, right? And it's not just the writing for the characters, which is important, but it's how they execute it. And it's individual scenes that make these films. Because
Thespian Judd.
Because look at this.
I love this.
I'll tell you right now, the last scene of this film is not very good, but it doesn't matter by then.
Boom.
It's not very good, but that's okay because there were so many individual scenes. So I picked that one as my favorite because I thought that it was indicative of why this film was good and not a flop.
I've got takes on the last scene that I will give you in a different section of this podcast here. I think my favorite part of this movie was just how obviously Matthew McConaughey either had full on like control of the script or that he only decided to do the movie if it was a 2-hour ode to his ego. This was a 2-hour ode to Matthew McConaughey's ego as a man, as an A-list celebrity.
Is this the first film that was basically a film about him?
Boy, let me pull up the IMDb
because
here.
I mean, you're right. This was an ode to him.
I think he was a pretty big megastar by this point.
He was.
Because he had been in big movies for 12 years by this point. Let me just pull up the
12
IMDb.
years. Okay.
So, all right.
So it's probably not.
Early on, oh my God, that's right. I've seen this episode. You know, the first thing that he was ever in was in 1992. He was an actor in an Unsolved Mysteries episode.
What?
You know how like
you've seen it?
Yeah. You know the old, I think he played like a guy that got shot in his garage or something. But they would always do the reenactment scenes on Unsolved Mysteries, and so they'd hire just like no-name actors to play out these like things. And he was a no-name actor.
Did you get to talk?
I think so.
Oh my God, so. I got to go back and find
Season 5, episode 12.
I got to see if I can find
Season
this on
5,
YouTube.
episode 12.
Okay. Oh, that's hilarious.
So Dazed and Confused, he plays Wooderson in 1993.
And he's great.
So by this point, it had been 10 years.
Yep, and he's great
being a star. He was in, and he wasn't a star in this, but like he was in Angels in the Outfield in 1994. Right. He was in A Time to Kill in 1996.
Yes, in which he is unbelievable.
Yep. He was in U571 as one of the main characters. That John Bon Jovi was also in that movie in 2000.
Okay.
He starred in The Wedding Planner in 2001. That was probably his first chick flick
and that's
rom-com.
him.
Great film.
Yep.
That's him.
And then How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days.
Okay, so this was like the second time that he basically got to play himself.
And then eventually he went into like Failure to Launch, We Are Marshall, Fool's Gold, Tropic Thunder,
he's good,
et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
He's good.
And he just plays Matthew McConaughey. But like I started making a list of just all the things under the Matthew McConaughey ego umbrella, taking his shirt off with the blinds open in his office.
What?
Even the way that he interacts with the two other coworkers, it's not like a normal interaction about, guys, okay, like let's brainstorm some ways to get this jewelry company. It's him with his shirt off telling those guys, this is my account. This is my day, boys. Like high-fiving. And his buddies are just there to like validate him the entire time. They're like his little cronies. He picks up the hottest girl at the party within 30 seconds of making eye contact with her using one-word sentences.
Yeah, I have a take on that.
Yes.
This is the time for it. Go ahead.
Well, that's my least favorite part.
Okay.
Is the part where they meet at the bar and he's like, food, clothes. Like they're just all saying, they're both saying
Leaving
one. Yeah.
now.
It was the most awkward thing ever.
But it wasn't.
And then also,
If you try that, it's going to be awkward.
Oh, yeah.
When Matthew
I'm not
McConaughey
Matthew
tries
McConaughey.
it.
He's gorgeous.
I'm a
He's a
David
gorgeous man.
Spade, Steve Buscemi hybrid. Okay, like that's the best I got. All right, like I'm not Matthew McConaughey. I know my weaknesses.
That's awesome.
But at the same time, just that whole scene, also with the three women, like Kate Hudson and her two friends, like they just all get dolled up right after work and then go to the bar. I know it's New York, but seems a little over the top ridiculous.
Yeah, I could see that one. Though.
Yeah,
Seems a little over the top.
And
Doesn't seem like things that people would do.
And then like he rides a motorcycle around New York. By the way, at the end of this movie, he winds up getting a $50 million ad account that he is essentially the account executive over this thing.
Yep.
And then the other thing that wasn't really a play to his ego, it was just actually it kind of was a play to his ego and just like lack of caring about other people. When Andy comes to his apartment for the first time, so she walks in the door and they just met and they're going to hang out in his apartment for the first time. And he walks in and he goes, "Can I get you a cold beer?"
Yeah.
So he just like assumes that she drinks beer.
No, she was pounding Budweisers all night. That's in my notes. I love that part.
At the party she was?
She was drinking a martini at the party, but there's other scenes where like when they're tanning on the roof and stuff.
But he doesn't know when he asks her that. He doesn't know that she drinks beer.
But
why would you offer a girl only beer when you don't know?
Because here's the best part. My guess, Bud damn near funded the entire film.
Yes.
They did.
There is nothing but Budweiser the entire film. Like he gets home, he's happy, he's depressed. No matter what he is, he's taking out a Bud and turning the label of the Bud towards the camera to open it up.
It's so true.
Like he's purposely shifting the Bud towards the camera before he pops it. It's great. I love sponsorships.
But like Dex has been in the dating game for a few years. Like when you hanging out with a girl for the first time, do you just assume because you like beer that they like beer? So hey, what kind of beer can I get you?
I would definitely not say what kind of beer.
That's what he's like. Can I get you a cold beer? I don't know.
I would most likely offer a seltzer of a choice.
A Corona hard seltzer.
Exactly right. So now
pure beach vibes.
Now, what if she had said, "I'd love a beer. Do you have any Miller Lite?" Would have ruined the whole damn film.
Yeah, edit it out. You'd have to blur her face out.
It would have ruined the film.
All right, Dex, what was your favorite part?
My favorite part is actually the scene where they go back to the apartment for the first time. So twofold. Number one, I love how he offers her a Budweiser, which is just great. I love that. But then she goes into the bathroom and she starts to go through his things. But he lights all these candles with Nelly playing.
Yep.
Okay? With Nelly, like 2002 hip-hop Nelly.
Was it hot in here?
It might have been hot in here. I can't remember. I think it was. I think it was hot in here.
Yes, it was.
Well, then he realizes, oh, wait, like maybe I want something a little more sensual. So then he blows out the candles and turns on Al Green, which I find hilarious because I think that would be the opposite. I think you'd have the candles off with Nelly playing, but then you would turn on Al Green and light the candles.
Love it, Dex.
When she wanted to lay on the bed, his goal is to get her to fall in love within 10 days, right?
Yeah.
When she lays on the bed and taps the bed, why would he pull the reins back on that? And if his goal is to get her to fall in love, is he just trying to show like, hey, I'm a gentleman, this isn't a one night stand situation?
Let me sit on this dresser too, by the way. Let's have this nice talk on a vanity 5 feet from my bed where she's right there, man.
We can't go to the couch and just hang out for a while?
Right, no.
So his goal though is to get her to fall in love and take her to the party in 10 days, right?
Yes.
So he thinks if we have sex tonight,
right,
that's going to be it.
Right.
Yeah,
so
then it's
he's
just a
trying
one-night
to
stand. Yeah.
So he's got to. But here's my question
Classic.
off that. How did he after the whole cluster bleep, right? Where she gets mad at the party and then she takes the microphone and all of that stuff happens. How did he just keep the account? Like I would think that would have blown up. Like that looked.
No, what's her name? The
wife.
She was clapping the whole time.
no the
DeLauer.
older woman. Yeah, DeLauer.
Mrs. DeLauer.
Mrs. DeLauer.
I would have thought somebody would
You
have
thought it was great. You're right, Judd. Where it
overruled
it
Mrs.
should have been
DeLauer and
overruled.
said, "These people are crazy."
Are insane, but she was so in on it that she was just
Everybody
about it.
else was like, "Oh, this is weird," and she was just like clapping
Yeah.
and loving it the whole time.
Phil, off your point too. So it was very intriguing that they made sure that McConaughey's friends looked as ugly as possible too.
Yeah.
Oh,
and- yeah. They were just random guys, right? Like schleppy.
Yeah, but I mean, they like dressed them down as much as possible. So he must have said, I not only need to be the biggest hunk in this film, but everybody else who's a male in this film needs to not look even remotely good unless it's like a party scene.
And they certainly won't be taking their shirts off.
No, hell no.
And then second favorite part is how she leaves the purse at his place.
Yeah.
Because she knows she's going to be back. And or what he figures out is, oh, I'll take this with me. I'll have my boys open the purse, and then it has this great subtle Knicks tickets, which no one would be carrying those Knicks tickets in the purse. It's one thing to leave the purse at the apartment knowing you're going to come back.
Yeah.
That's a little token. That's a normal thing. But the fact you leave the Knicks tickets in there.
Did you guys
Little
also notice?
I got a thought on that. Yeah.
I'm trying to think of the exact way that this was phrased, but at one point it was day 9 and they were talking about the party like tomorrow or something like that. And then McConaughey had pulled out Game 7 Knicks tickets.
I think I know where you're going.
But at that point, we were still like 4 days away. I don't remember how we knew, but I remember like it was made clear that this game is like 4 days away or something.
He said date 13, I believe is what he said.
Day 13.
He like literally gave the number.
Yes.
Yes.
So they're on day 9 because the party was the next day. And,
Yep.
and he said day 13. So there's a 4-day gap. Well, the way the NBA Finals schedule is, even with the 2 days, you wouldn't be guaranteed a Game 7 by that point. You might not even know that there's going to be.
Oh, that's a good point.
We might not even have gotten to Game 5
because
yet.
there wouldn't be a 3-day.
Dude, there are
And at
so
no
many
point,
flaws in this
he's pulled
part.
these tickets out. He's like, and these aren't just any tickets. These are Game 7.
Game 7, baby.
But it's like, yeah, but there might not be a Game
They are-
7. Don't you have to make that known? Like,
There-
this is a date, but there might not be a
But the
game.
Knicks are down 3-2 in the series.
Yeah.
We need to win Game 6.
Do you know the amount of sports flaws in that series
All right.
in the film?
Let's just, okay.
Like this,
This is awesome.
it's off the charts.
Okay. So, least favorite part. Let's just have this entire thing. Let's start with
Okay.
the 2002 NBA Finals as portrayed in this movie.
Okay.
Knicks versus Kings. The Ringer does an amazing write-up. It's like a 2,000 word write-up, a dissection of this fictional NBA Finals series
Yes.
as shown through the eyes of How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days.
Yes.
They called it one of the greatest NBA Finals series of all time. You had 7 games, you had buzzer beaters. I'm just going to read what they wrote, and then we can riff on our own, okay?
Okay.
So Andy and Ben go on their first date to the finals. And when we join them in the fourth quarter, things couldn't be going better. They seem to be having a great time yelling at the refs and trying to distract Scott Pollard while he shoots free throws. Suddenly, with under 2 minutes to go, Andy and Ben appear on the kiss cam. Seems like a critical error by the Madison Square Garden game ops team. You're supposed to get the kiss cam out of the way in like the second quarter,
Yeah, it's
not the fourth quarter of a 1-score NBA Finals game.
Yes.
All right, everybody, it's the kiss cam.
There's lots
it's
of-
underwater cam.
The end of this game is fraught with peril.
Also, before I keep reading here, if you'll notice, there is one of many continuity errors when she wants the Diet Coke, and there's like, the game is winding down.
Yeah.
Supposedly, when they showed, so she's like hitting him and like I'm thirsty,
Yeah.
and then they show a shot of the court on the back, like on the far end of the court, on the back of the backboard. The clock says 7 minutes and like 26 seconds.
Oh, I noticed this. Yes.
But the scoreboard says
Right.
109.
okay.
Yeah. When she first asked for it, you can see the clock and it says like, less than 2 minutes. There's less than 2 minutes in the game. But then they do a pan shot to the full court. And at the other far side of the hoop, it says 7:20. I
Yep.
noticed this too. They're like, oh, Big hole there.
But keep in mind, it's a finals with a team from 2002 that didn't even make the playoffs. So they're not really worried about the clock here.
So the ringer continues. So the kiss cam happens. You need the crowd to be pumped up. Put on a hype video of players yelling, "Make some noise!" while Crazy Train plays. But in this instance, the kiss cam works because the Madison Square Garden crowd is transfixed by the magnetic will they won't energy between McConaughey and Hudson. When they finally kiss, the building goes nuts. I guess it's okay to show kiss cam in a critical moment of a finals game, but only if you're reasonably certain the two people you're putting on the Jumbotron are characters in a rom-com. Thanks to McConaughey and Hudson, 20,000 fans roar to their feet. Then the sound guy blasts the ultimate pump-up jam to keep the crowd hyped for the final minute of game one. Kiss Me by Sixpence None the Richer.
Yeah, which, by the way, is a great little pop song.
Yeah, great little tune.
Great little pop
Get
song.
fired up.
Great tune.
Okay, they also note here the Kings lineup. With less than 2 minutes to go in this game,
Oh my God.
Bobby Jackson.
Sacramento is running a bizarre lineup with backup center Scott Pollard and deep bench reserve Lawrence Funderburk in the game.
Foul trouble. There was foul trouble in that game. I remember it clearly.
Funderburk had 6 points total in the actual 2002 NBA playoffs, but on this night, he apparently has 7. Meanwhile, some of the Kings' most important players like Chris Webber, Doug Christie, Peja Stojakovic, and Vlade Divac are out of the lineup with the game on the line.
Oh my God.
They all fouled out. Come on. Don't you? I can't believe you
guess.
guys don't recall that.
I guess. Fast forward to game 7 here on this Ringer write-up. So Ben buys tickets for game 7. He says they're not as good as the tickets bought by the usurped Sports Illustrated editor, who is presumably enjoying the finals alone in his massively expensive seats. But because of your typical rom-com stuff, Andy and Ben have a falling out. Ben briefly jokes about attending the game with Chinese crested dog Andy, or the Chinese crested dog Andy bought him, and Andy watches at home with one of her coworkers. We hear Marv Albert off the top of the game talk about how this has been a classic series as Kurt Thomas wins the opening tip against Divas. And then we don't get to see the result of game 7.
Correct.
Oh.
The movie flashes forward a few days
They skip it.
and never actually reveals who won the finals.
Because they don't really even they don't care about basketball. There's no
I
commitment
didn't
here.
really put that together.
So the biggest flaw that I saw as far as being easily correctable too, the entire NBA Finals is on regional TV in New York. It's Marv on MSG for every game.
Yeah.
Last time I checked, I believe the real 2002 NBA Finals was who the heck was it?
I
The
actually
Nets, the Nets and Lakers.
Yeah,
Okay.
I actually have some 2002 NBA trivia for you guys. If you,
The last time I checked that, boys, that series was on ABC, not MSG.
I believe that might have been the first series. No, yeah, that might have been the first series on ABC, or it might have been NBC.
It might have been, but the fact that they put the whole thing, and clearly Marv got paid, right? So they're like, okay, we'll pay Marv something here.
Marv will do some voiceover work for a half hour.
It's gonna be on MSG regional television.
So what they apparently did was the film crew went out to just a random regular season game between the Kings and the Knicks to film all of the basketball scenes in one game.
Yeah.
And so there was at one point one of the game winning shot. I think it was when they were at that restaurant and Andy watched it live and then Ben watched it all excited on SportsCenter after the fact.
Oh, the late local sports.
So the late local sports.
I got to turn on late local sports.
So if you watch that clip back, the game-winning shot happens and then Othello Harrington grabs the ball to inbound it because it's just footage from a random game. Like it's footage from the second quarter. But the movie framed it up as like, oh, it's a game-winning shot in the NBA Finals, but they forgot to cut the clip before Othello Harrington inbounded up for the next play.
It's a miracle that
Dude, they need continuity help with these things.
It's a miracle that didn't end up being two Eastern Conference teams in the finals.
It is.
Like it's a miracle that it's the Sixers and Knicks. What a great finals! But wouldn't that be the conference?
So how did they know enough to pick a random game with an Eastern and a Western?
They might have got
Conference
lucky.
Team? They could have.
They might have just said. Yeah. So if I'm right, they probably sent the crew out to film. Okay, and the Knicks approved it. And my guess is during timeouts, they said, you know, we're going to show this on the scoreboard and cheer, right? I bet you they got lucky. I bet you that it could have been Sacramento, but it just as easily could have been Philadelphia,
Man.
New Jersey at the time.
And then I guess they could have framed it as like a playoff series or something.
Right.
I bet you they still would have called it the
Yeah.
NBA Finals.
Okay, some trivia for you guys here. 2001, 2002 NBA season.
Yes.
So you got the finals right. It was the Lakers sweeping the Nets.
Yeah. Terrible.
Who did the
finals.
Timberwolves lose to in the first round?
No, 2.
Mm-hmm.
The
They got swept.
No, they didn't get swept by the Mavs. I didn't think.
They did get swept by the Mavs.
I did.
They did get
Oh.
swept by the Mavs in 2002.
Oh.
Yep. The upstart Steve Nash,
Yeah.
Dirk Nowitzki.
I thought there was one year where they pushed them to a 5. I thought the name
They
there was.
pushed the Sonics
That was
to
Seattle,
a
I
5.
I know.
Yeah. I think
Thought
that
there
was
was-
the
okay.
glove in Seattle, I think.
Okay.
Yep. This
Wow.
was the Mavs
Good
were
memory.
like coming on the scene, and I think Don Nelson was the coach. They had Michael Finley in his prime.
So they got swept in that series?
Yep.
Man.
3 games,
God, were they
double digit
bad.
losses in games 2 and 3.
Man, do I miss those days of first round ineptitude from the Wolves when
Yeah.
they at least made the playoffs.
Yeah, we'd take that back for sure.
Hell yeah.
Who was the MVP of the NBA that year?
No, 2.
Shaq?
Yeah, that sounds right.
Not Shaq.
Allen Iverson.
Not Allen Iverson.
Jason Kidd.
These are all good guesses because he was the point guard, I think, for the Nets.
Kobe?
Tim Duncan.
Oh,
Tim Duncan was the MVP.
fundamental.
Who was the rookie of the year? This is a Hall of Famer, but it's going to be tough to guess this. I think you're not going to get it.
2002.
I don't know.
Pau Gasol.
Oh, yeah.
Was the rookie of the year.
Yeah, I know.
I believe for the Vancouver Grizzlies,
Yeah.
maybe at the time.
Yeah, they were at Memphis. Yeah.
And the scoring champ of the 2001-02 NBA season.
Shaq.
Not Shaq.
AI?
AI.
Let's say.
Yep,
Second
30-some
guess.
points a game.
He was fun, man. I loved watching him.
02 NBA. Any other final thoughts from one of the great final series of all times there before we close this chapter? It didn't feel like a finals vibe. Like it just,
No, it didn't.
Oh,
you didn't see
okay.
the finals logo on the court, and
They didn't care.
Lawrence Funderburk
They
can't be in the
they,
game.
They said that the majority of people that watch this are going to not care, and so we don't care.
Chris Webber was, I think, injured for this game, which made it
Got
even
it.
less realistic. you
But
know?
I mean, that's what
And-
they said, right?
They must have. I
They
don't know.
basically said that the people that come out and pay to watch this film are not going to give a damn if what we paint from a basketball standpoint is real or not. And so they just punted.
Is this just as much a sports movie as it is a rom-com?
No.
Yeah, not
It's
no.
like 10% sports movie.
Yeah, but it's not
10%.
just as much.
Yeah, like that would be like Fever Pitch. Fever Pitch is like half sports, half
Yes.
rom-com.
Okay, what is
Drew
more?
Barrymore.
Yeah.
Is Die Hard more of a Christmas movie than this movie is a sports movie?
Yes.
I'd say
I
it's
see
about,
what you're saying.
I'd say
yes.
it's about the same.
Oh no.
I think Die Hard's like 50%
Yeah, I
Christmas
think-
movie.
Yes.
We're not going to get in the fight.
Yes.
I'm not going to get in that
the
fight.
the
No.
last takeaway I have from the whole Knicks and Sacramento Kings debacle is just I don't care how great this girl is and how much I'm trying to impress her. There is zero chance I am getting up with 2 minutes to go to get her a Coke.
And why is she asking for that?
Yeah.
And why is the
Well,
concession
no,
stand
she's-
even open still?
And
Well, she's asking to drive him away within 10 days. And in fact, that's the first time that she gets weird.
Right.
So like she'd been really cool up until then, but I'm with Dex. My least
Zero
my
chance.
least believable part of
Oh,
this film, which
okay.
by the way is filled with things
Yes.
that I wouldn't believe. My least believable is that anybody would go to an NBA finals and with 109 left say, I'll go get you. And I don't care if Dawn and I were on our first date. I would have said, are you kidding me?
I mean, it's
No.
a deal breaker. The relationship is over if she pushes. And by the way, then you get her something, and there's 30 seconds left, and she says, "Oh no!" She freaks out. It's not diet. Listen, we'll stop somewhere right outside. There's a bar outside. We'll stop somewhere. We'll get you something, but you gotta calm down a little bit here.
I mean, I told Dawn in game 7 of 91,
Oh, a love story.
I told her, quit
Talking to
waving that damn hanky around because I'm trying to watch the game. This is a game 7.
How long were you dating at that point?
We start 2 years, I think.
Oh, okay.
So quite a while, but I'm
So
like,
was it
quit
like
waving
early-
the hanky
Was
around.
it the second
Well,
date?
like the second date, and you're
No,
asking
but
her
I
to stop waving the hanky.
do you think I would take a person on a second date to game 7 of
would
the World Series?
Pay so much money to be at a fly in the wall, not to watch the World Series, to watch Judd on a date at a baseball game in the 80s.
Oh,
Not- the World Series game is secondary to me at
So-
this point.
So we were at a
Oh, this is awesome.
regular season game at the Metrodome. I think it was Mariners Twins. I forget. It's around 1990 or so. Okay. And we have some sort of brawl about something. I don't remember. We were both pissed off. And so we're brawling. And so I'm sitting there arms crossed and like Dawn, I don't think she's crying, but she's upset, right? I'm not joking. They put us on the old school black and white Metrodome scoreboard.
Oh, yes.
And it's just these two miserable people.
Oh, my God. That's
and I'm
amazing.
like, we're up there. And
and luckily, it was such a small Jumbotron in retrospect.
and it was that black and white. Like you couldn't, yeah. But anyway.
That's hilarious.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
But anyway, least believable,
Yeah, least believable
is anybody getting up, anybody actually saying, I will go get you a Coke. And then Phil, I thought the same exact thing. Why is the concession stand open with basically a minute left in this basketball game?
Yeah, I don't know what that's. And then that one guy super slow, whatever. What about new question for you guys for just special for Rom Com here.
Sure.
The cheesiest part of this movie.
I'm going with the end.
Yeah, I think
They-
it might be
It is,
universal
right?
here.
It's this right here.
Yeah.
You can write anywhere. I think you're running away.
Why don't you save your mind games for your next bet, okay? I am not running away.
Bull.
Excuse me?
You heard me. Bull. Take the lady's luggage back to her place. She has alternate transportation.
Ultimate transportation.
You call my bluff?
You bet I am.
I love the way that he slips that cab driver
Yeah.
like a couple $100 without
Can I
looking
ask
at him at all.
Can I ask a question about this too? She's moving, right?
Yeah.
To Washington.
To DC. She's hugging the bellman. She's gone.
I mean,
She quit her job already.
she's a freelance journalist who's quit her job, okay?
Yep.
Where is her place now? Like, is she just keeping the Manhattan
This is-
apartment?
Yeah,
That's a
she's
good point.
well. No, I think she was going to interview for a job
Got
in
it.
Washington.
Oh, I thought she was like
Yeah.
going to go to Washington
But-
because she's got her stuff, but she's
Phil's
okay,
right.
I think
so-
she's.
Phil's
I think
right.
she's interviewing.
She was
for a job.
interviewing,
Okay.
but like the way she was saying it, like she's like was hugging the bellman. It was like,
yeah, I gotta
clearly,
go.
like a
Yeah,
goodbye.
she's acting like she's moving.
This is
Yeah.
also another Matthew McConaughey ego stroke in that I'm such a stud muffin. I don't care what her career and life aspirations are. You can cab driver. We're gonna put an end to her aspirations. She's coming home with me.
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
Come on,
because I'm
lady.
so
You can ride
great.
anywhere.
So she is done rotten. She's not going to do anything barefoot and pregnant. I mean, what's he talking about?
Oh, my God.
So here's where I will absolve them, though, from my perspective, and say that even though it's cheesy, it's fine. I don't think there's a good way, like some great way to end this film, and they got it under 2 hours. I think they just wrote the end and said, we got to be done.
yeah, this is over.
Like they knew you can't go 210, right?
Game 7's over.
Yep.
Yeah.
You don't know who won, but
But I mean that's where I think the critics' complaints fall apart here because they're like, well, the script didn't make a lot of sense, and then of course it didn't. It's well acted. They got it done.
Oh my God.
Okay, another candidate for
Very deep dive.
cheesiest thing. It has to be what they came up with for a $50 million ad spend for this jewelry company, DeLauer. Frost yourselves. Frost yourselves, which means something
Robert
different as well.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if I would have spent $50 million on Frost yourselves.
Are the
being-
DeLauers just drunks? Is that what we're supposed to take this as?
I think so.
They're just billionaires.
Yeah.
Another thing before we get into a couple of the final questions here, 2003 kind of felt like it was peak magazine era. I think back to like early 2000s, and I can tell you personally,
Oh yeah.
I had subscriptions to SI, ESPN, the
Yep.
magazine, Men's Health, Golf Digest, Slam,
Esquire-
Entrepreneur, Esquire, like
Rolling Stone.
all that stuff.
Mag-
Magazines
read-
were huge in our house.
Did you read all of these?
Not all of them,
Yeah, I was.
but
too
then I
young.
would save them. Like I would put them all
Yeah.
in
Oh, yeah,
boxes.
I had
Because they look good.
my childhood bedroom was all the SI for Kids like rip off cover art that you could put on. Like I had
Yeah.
all of them up there.
Yeah, that's
Paul
awesome.
Pierce, Joe Mauer, all the Vlad Guerrero. I had all these great ones.
Yeah, I mean, because the internet was still pretty new in the early 2000s
Yeah.
and social media didn't quite exist yet. And so, you know, in terms of like the pie chart of your media consumption in a day, it didn't include Instagram, it didn't include YouTube or any of that stuff or Netflix. So like magazines were still a huge part
For
of
sure.
media in 2003. So that was another thing to know, that this was like the height of magazine consumption. All right. Couple things for you guys here that are one that's going to be a little bit different, and I want your help molding this. We do definitive bad guy rankings in Action Movie Rewind.
Yeah.
I think we should do like definitive main character rankings of some kind. But obviously we have two main characters in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
So
a fun one to do once we like actually put a bunch of them in our tool bag with the rom-coms is like the best relationship, like the best love connection.
I like it.
that's a good.
But we need like 6, you know,
Yeah.
like we can't just start with this one.
I like it. Well, let's give them a score.
Sure. Yes,
I
rank
love
them.
it. So definitive relationship rankings.
Great idea.
Dax coming through in the clutch. And so I think it has to be a combination of like the characters themselves, looks, personality,
chemistry.
how about
Chemistry.
looks, personality,
Because
chemistry?
some do not work
chemistry.
at all. Like
Yeah.
Well,
it's just clear that the two people don't really gel,
sure.
and so it just stinks.
Yeah. So should we even include looks, or should we just say chemistry?
Yep.
Just
I think
chemistry.
chemistry is the most important thing.
Yeah, chemistry.
I like it.
It feels forced at times. And this one I thought was really good.
So Ben Barry plus Andy Anderson.
Yes.
On a scale of 1 to 10.
The most important thing that they found was they found an actress that could hold her own with him.
Yeah.
Because I'm willing to bet in real life as an actor or actress, McConaughey probably would be difficult to act, not with because he's a bad guy, but there's just a lot there.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of there with McConaughey.
So 1 through 10.
I'm going to go with a solid. See, it's the first time, so it's a little more difficult to me, but I'm going to go with a very solid 8.
And this is the chemistry between the two,
Yes.
obviously, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it's a 9.
That's fine.
It's pretty
I feel
high.
like it's a
yeah,
9.
no, it's high.
Because the whole part is like she's trying to play it off like I want to lose this guy, but also that's a normal game a woman will play not trying to lose the guy. The guy is also in Matthew McConaughey like this big wig,
I'm sorry, Dex, tell us more.
Yeah, no, have I experienced this before?
We've got all the time in the world. Tell us more.
Oh my god. But then the way Matthew McConaughey is playing it as like, oh, I'm this heartthrob, like I'm confident, I have all this money, I'm a sales guy. I think it's very legitimate. And then the family dynamic too, which we haven't touched on at all when they go to Staten Island.
Which I'd like to touch on.
We can get on there.
So he's from Staten Island and
with the
did
Texas
nothing to
Well,
hide
I was
the
gonna,
Texas
I
accent.
was gonna
right?
bring that up.
Right.
Like, who wrote that and then,
Yes.
and then said, Matthew, here's the key.
we-
We don't care
Yeah.
that you're from Texas.
I have a take from that we'll get into, but I think it's a solid 9. I think the chemistry is legit. It's a solid 9.
I think it's an 8, and I'm only docking it because, and this is pretty nitpicky, but they were both like, you couldn't tell if they had great chemistry because they were both like playing they both had hidden agendas. And then when the hidden agendas kind of went away, you could tell they had great chemistry. I'm going to give it an 8.
Okay.
So
it's solid though.
It's an 8.3 composite score here
All right.
between the three of us. Okay. The movie itself as a rom-com, and let's just establish criteria here too. I don't know if we need to come up with something specific, but I think the movie itself in terms of entertainment value. Is that fair?
Yep.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Judd Zolgad, 1 through 10.
9.
Whoa!
Wow,
9.
Yes.
9. Look, for what they were doing, and I've seen this film probably 3 times now. It's really good. Like it's really, again, it differs from the action films because these are, in my opinion, so character driven in how they're done.
Yeah.
This is a 9. It has a lot of really good things. And the two main characters, I think, are just great.
Yeah.
Dex?
McConaughey's great. I'm sorry. I'm a fan.
It's a solid 8. It's an 8 out of 10. I think I'm with Judd here. I think it's an 8. I've never seen this before. So I was completely open to interpretation here. And I thought it met all the criteria of your classic rom-com. You have the high-profile businesswoman who is trying to swindle this dude. You have Matthew McConaughey playing the reciprocal of it. There's cheesy lines. There's cheesy moments. I thought it was a really good rom-com. I would watch this again. I know Phil Mackey has watched it a bajillion times. I don't know if I'll watch it that many times and or change my entire career path after watching it. However,
Wow.
it is a very good movie. I'm glad I watched it for the first time. It's an 8.
It's it is legitimately in my life. It's legitimately like one of the movies I've seen the most,
12,
and have been. I'm giving it a 9.5.
Oh wow!
And the 0.5 deduction is for the complete, just egregious continuity mistakes with the NBA Finals.
You can't put the sports fan away.
You can't show Lawrence Funderburk and Scott Pollard in the final minute of an NBA Finals game. I'm sorry. And get away with it. So they have to be docked for their just complete ineptitude with sports. And so yeah. Did you have a final point you were going to make, Dex?
The whole, just like another least believable scene is when they're at the parents' house and they clearly, like get it on for the first time in the bathroom, in the shower. And like, let me get this right. Like, you are 2 grown adults. You're back with mom and dad. There's like 3 of your nephews running around. Your brother's running around. Your old uncle is there. And you're just going to get it on in the bathroom next to everyone?
Hell yeah, you are.
I don't know, man.
I'm with Declan.
You haven't lived until you snuck away from a family party.
Okay, yes, that might be true at like 18, not at 34. Yeah. Like there's an area where that's allowed, or like where that's okay. It's not okay when you're grown adults. Just saying.
Okay, so what Dex just said is my least favorite part, and here's why. And this is the one thing in the script that could have been tweaked, and it would not have been hard. The entire premise is they both secretly have a plan to drive the other person away throughout the course of this film. And then they go to a faux counselor, and then they go and see his folks and family. And at that point in time, we suddenly just pivot to, I really love you. No, I really love you. Like, they just went from, I really don't care. I don't care. I don't care. Oh my God, we're with your family now. Now, I'm going to tell you from personal experience, love the in-laws, love the family. All right. But that's not a tipping point.
I mean, I think
when you beat Dawn in cards, like that wasn't the point that like, oh my God, I'm actually
that's
in love
the point.
Dawn.
I said, do you realize I hate games? Yeah. I hate games.
But see, they love games. And she said to him, she put herself in the family and loved the way that the family interacted and treated her. And she could see herself as part of the family. And
yeah, which is a major problem that I have.
What?
I have a major problem with that. I have a major problem with the fact that they took it from now. If they had slowly but surely been ascending to that, if they'd gone to a real counselor or something, but they go to her friend,
right?
And then all of a sudden they go see the family, and then she's like, "Oh no, this is real," and then he's like, "This is real." It's like they both lost their minds.
I can't tell you how many times young Phil Mackey tried to convince a girl that he liked to let's play some cards with your family. Maybe they'll like me.
You know how far I kept girls from my. Never mind.
Well, that sounds like a you problem.
That sounds like a you problem.
Yep.
No, I know, but McConaughey maybe should have done the same.
My dad always told me, keep your hands at home, son. That was one of the first lines he gave me when I was a young pup going on dates. Keep your hands at home, son.
Amazing. So we'll do this again in a month. We'll do another rom-com in a month, and we'll pick it when we get a little bit closer. But now we have to pick a movie for next week's Action Movie Rewind. And so what I'm gonna do the same thing we did with Declan a couple weeks ago, which is I'm going into the large bin of movies that we have put together so far and that listeners have put in here. I'm picking 4 of them.
Oh, okay.
And I want Judd to pick a random number 1 through 4.
Okay.
Should I tell you what the 4 are? Even though it doesn't, like, you don't know what order they're in.
No, it's fine.
You just want to,
I want people to know the 4.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yes.
But
okay.
I got it.
So the 4 on this list are Beverly Hills Cop 2, Snakes on a Plane, Rush Hour, and Twister, another natural disaster.
Twister. I saw it in the theater.
Another natural disaster movie.
Oh my God.
Okay. So Rush Hour, Beverly Hills Cop 2, Snakes on a Plane, and Twister.
Okay.
One thing, I'm going to scramble these up here. Okay, pick a number 1 through 4.
3.
You
know what?
Beverly Hills Cop 2.
Twister. We got to do Twister at some point.
We will for sure do Twister.
It is
actually Snakes on a Plane is kind of a natural disaster too.
That's true.
It's kind of weird.
That's true. Twister is just Oh, you talk about
back to middle
flaws.
school.
How does the dad get blown away in a tornado when he's basically holding onto the cellar door? I'll
crazy.
never understand
And
that.
the cow and the Twister is my favorite.
And,
part.
and now
That's
it
cool.
looks so fake.
Yes.
Now
I
it's
remember
like, that's a plastic cow.
vintagely renting that movie at Blockbuster when I was like for the first time when I was maybe like 8 or 10 years old.
It's great. All right, so we'll do Beverly
Unreal.
Hills Cop 2 for Action Movie Rewind next Friday.
Phil Mackey, Judd Zulgad.
That's the worst idea you've ever had. You've had some bad ideas. That's the worst one.